There's somebody out there that needs to hear this, and I hope this video finds you. Today, I don't want to talk to you about the acceptance rates. I don't want to talk to you about surge pricing. I don't want to talk to you about the algorithm or the behaviors of the riders. I just want to talk to you, the person behind the steering wheel. Somewhere along the way, too many drivers started believing that this app determines their value. If Uber sends good rides, they feel successful. If Lyft slows down, they feel like failures. There's a dangerous way that's a dangerous way to live. Listen to me carefully. Your circumstances don't define who you are as a human being. This job is something you do. It's not who you are. You're a father, you're a mother, you're someone's son or daughter. You're a veteran. You're a college student. You're an entrepreneur. You're someone chasing a dream. This app doesn't get to decide your worth, nor does anybody that has an opinion of you because you are doing gig work, or someone that has an opinion of gig work. They don't get an opportunity to decide your worth. Fuck them. Okay? Some of you are working 10 to 12 to even 14 hours a day. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Trying to provide for your families. Some of you are dealing with bills, health issues, taking care of loved ones, or simply trying to survive. It's easy to let this job convince you that your worth is tied to your ratings, your earnings, or whether Uber and Lyft sends you enough rides. I'm here to remind you of something. People, listen at this. You are more than a Uber and Lyft driver. This app doesn't define your intelligence. It doesn't define your character. It doesn't define your future. And it certainly doesn't define your value as a human being. Whether you're making $500 a week or $2,000 a week, you're still deserved of respect. Don't compare your journey to someone else's screenshots. Every market, every driver, and every life situation is different. Sometimes we all need someone to tell us this. I'm going to tell you all to keep going. Don't quit on yourself. I hope this conversation encourages someone who needs to hear this today. Look, I typed this because I felt the need to connect with those of you that have subscribed to my channel, to the people out there that find my content entertaining and want to know about some of the things that I talk about. And just people in general. I need to connect with you all on another level, because I'm more than an Uber or Lyft driver, right? We all are. But people's opinions of us and gig work sometimes makes us feel like we are low on the totem pole. And that's why I decided to make this video today, to talk to you all, just, and just, hey, let you know, hey, man, we all the same. You know what I'm saying? We're human beings, and our circumstances do not define who we are as a human being. Look, I want to share a little bit I want to share a little bit, okay, of what I learned in my journey. I'm a 53-year-old man, right? And I've done a lot in my life, okay? And I have a lot more to go. In my journey, as a younger man, I made a lot, put it this way, I made a lot of mistakes. You know, if you keep making mistakes, they turn into ignorant behaviors, brain dead, dumb shit. You know what I mean? All of us have experienced these types of actions in our lives. If you are someone that's of age, you know what I mean? You know, they say you learn from your mistakes. Some of us don't. And that weighs heavy on our hearts because we're looked down on. You know what I'm saying? A lot of poor decisions and bad judgment calls created a lot of hardship in my life. You know, I thought I knew everything. Yeah. I had accomplished a few things, was getting money, getting plenty pussy, hanging with who I thought was friends, the fellas, and we go on out and the women's running behind us and, running to me and all that stuff. Think you know everything. You're getting a little education, you think you're smarter than everybody else. All types of shit to blow your head up. But yet, I still continue to create problems for myself that will cause hardships. I did not understand the importance of, as a young man, okay? I didn't understand the importance of the saying, you make a bed, you lay in it. Or a hard head makes a soft behind. Those sayings don't resonate with today's era of people. If they hear it, they ignore it. That's some old shit. I did the same thing. Old sayings, whatever. That don't apply to me. I did the exact same thing. Ignored it. And I'm here to tell you that as a 53-year-old man, I can't even be proud of anything that I accomplished in my younger years because a lot of the hardship that I created for myself comes from my younger years. Learned behaviors. Like I said, they're not called mistakes when you continue to do them. They're called dumb bullshit. Stupid acts that's going to cause problems for you either then or later down the road. And it weighs heavy on us because we know what we're doing and we know that it's wrong, but yet we still do it because we're brain dead. We don't understand the ramifications of how life works. That's how I was. Look, I was this close to playing in the National Football League, the NFL. Okay? I cannot even celebrate any accomplishments or any hardships that I overcame to get this close. Because in my eyes, this close wasn't good enough. Right? But goes back to all of the bad decisions that I made. All the constant mistakes that turn into idiotic, dumb behaviors. that I thought that they're not going to affect me. I'm going to be okay. Blind, brain dead. Yeah, me. So I can't even celebrate any accomplishments or the fact that I actually was this close, because I'm so disheartened. I'm so disheartened by all of the mistakes and all of the hardships that I created for myself, right? In my pursuit, right? One day I probably will be able to accept any accomplishments that, or any hardships that I overcame in my journey or whatever, because I was so focused on oftentimes a lot of us, we are so focused on what we need that we ignore what we have to be thankful for. Okay? And what we're trying to accomplish. We ignore what we have already accomplished. I don't mean to, this is just me opening up and being more than an Uber or a Lyft driver. I hope someone understands where I'm coming from today. So look, the moral of the story is that I hope you young people, please listen to this and understand this. A hard head makes a soft behind. The bed that you make is the bed that you're going to lay in. You don't know shit. You're learning, and you will continue to learn as long as you're on this earth. But there's one thing that I want you all to understand. It don't matter how many mistakes you made, how much dumb shit you done did that people looked at and said, man, you're dumb as a motherfucker, or what you're doing is stupid, right? It does not matter how much money you have, where you sleep at, okay? What you were. If you don't have the latest phones, okay? If you live in the projects. It doesn't matter if you're on EBT, food stamps, or go to the food bank. None of that. It doesn't matter if you can't go to the barbershop or the beauty salon to get your hair done. Okay? You know the most important thing that matters is that your circumstances do not define you as a human being. And as long as God wake you up every day, you got an opportunity to make whatever situation it is you're in better. That's if you want to. And I'm here to tell you that this is something that I wanted to share with you all, because there's nobody else that's going to tell you this. Not an Uber or Lyft driver. I just wanted to connect with y'all on a personal level and talk directly to you, the driver behind the steering wheel, that's out here trying to make all this make sense. A lot of us won't say anything about some of the things that's happening with what's going on with Uber and Lyft, because people around us, family members and friends, or people's on outside, is just going to say, hey man, why did you sign up if all you're going to do is going to complain? So a lot of us won't say anything. We just ride in the car and just let the algorithm do everything to us, and the passengers or these people that we're delivering things to do and treat us any kind of way, like we just nothing. And it weighs heavy on our hearts. And it affects us as people. And it makes us feel like we are less of a person because we are doing gig work. Okay? That's not the case. That's not the case. I'm going to share a story with y'all before I get out here. So as I stated, I've done a lot of things in my journey. A lot of things I've done. I'll put it this way. I've done some not so good things as well. And I was in the streets. I grew up in the crack era. That is not an excuse. Because my mother and my grandmother provided, and my granddad, they provided for me to the best that they could. But I grew up in the crack era. And I grew up in a time where I come from, where the sneaker game was Pumas and different sneakers, of Diodora and Lotto and Patrick Ewing's and things like that. But then when Jordan hit, that's when the pressures really came on, right? Being a follower, right? Not blaming nobody for it. The little odd jobs and things I was doing out there in the street wasn't enough, so I got me some crack. Started selling crack. And that was something that stayed with me for a long time. Because I all had this street corner mindset, Dr. Nation mindset, where, hey, if this don't work, I can always go get me some coke. I can always solve this with a half a brick or half a key of cocaine or whatever it was. That mindset stayed with me in my adulthood. And through being in the streets, you run into a lot of people that's drug addicts. As a young man, I was taught by the OGs to respect them because they are people. But I still didn't understand that concept. And, we was just wild and doing all kind of crazy stuff. As I got older, as I was in my earlier years, in my 20s and things like that, all the way up into my late 20s, I would still hustle. Even when money was good and when opportunities were great for me, I still would mess around in the streets, jeopardizing what I had overcame to get where I was, right? And let me tell you, I did not learn anything about life because I thought I knew everything. I thought, hey, man, I'm getting money. Hey, man, I'm playing in this league, and my next step is the NFL. You know what I'm saying? And God sparing me. Hey, man, I got all the women. I'm driving expensive cars, and I'm living like this. I can eat this, do whatever, right? Wearing gaiters, all types of shit like that. Paying $350 for the belt to go with the shoes, wearing designer glasses, all types of stuff, right? Thought I knew everything. Had 3-4 different girls and stuff, thought I knew everything. And I ain't know shit. And I'm going to tell you why. It took me being in the streets and talking to one of the people, being out there selling drugs. I used to wonder about the people. I used to wonder about them. And I would see them, and there would be, man, they would live in abandoned houses, right? And where I'm from, they used to call abandoned houses smitties. Abandoned houses are houses that's nobody's rent, that's been boarded up. So the homeless people and the drug addicts, most of them were drug addicts, they would live in those abandoned houses. No, they'll cut the electricity and the water and stuff on and live in them. Just like they're renting them. You know what I'm saying? And I was amazed by that. some of those houses were so clean, they were cleaner than people's houses that were paying rent in them, right? So a lot of times, some of the houses didn't have electricity and water and stuff in it because the people would take the meters and the wires. So they would still live in the houses and keep them clean, no water. They would go get water and all that stuff. And some of them didn't have heat and all that stuff like that. They would be freezing. And I would see them, it'd be 20, 25 of them or 30 of them on the corner on a daily basis. And they'd be just as happy. They'll go to the church and eat breakfast and lunch and dinner. They would drink their beers. They would go work odd jobs. They come back and they know they got to go sleep in these abandoned houses. They don't know if somebody's going to do something to kill them, cut the throats, or do anything. They were just as happy and content with where they were at that time. So there was one of the guys that used to come to me all the time, and he would do things for me, like go to the store in the neighborhood, or he would just, he was just one of them guys. His name was Rick. And Rick used to, because he knew that I was playing football internationally. So he told me, he said, yeah, man, I was a superstar one time. So when those people would say things to you, you dismiss it because you look instantly at where they at now. So when he told me that, he was like, man, I'm going to show you something one day. I'm going to show you something. So I even went to the point where I asked myself, what position you played? He said, I played running back. He said, I went to Shawan University. And he said, I was one of the top running backs in my high school, in my area. And also he was from North Carolina. So I said, well, okay. By listen, I thought it was just talk, because you look at them out there homeless and you doing drugs. And you say, yeah, man, really? You know what I'm saying? You don't expect these people to be anything. Rick came back to me one day, handed me a folder. I said, what's this? He said, look at it. I come back and get it. I looked at it. I could not believe it. It was all type of paper clippings, all types of awards, all types of things when he was in college, everything. He came back and got it. I said, man, let me ask you a question. I said, why are you walking around here with a smile every day? And why do it seem like you're happy living in an abandoned house and on drugs and stuff? He looked at me and he said, let me tell you something. He said, man, my circumstances do not define who I am as a human being. Instantly, a light just said, oh. And it was at that moment when I said, you know what? I've been looking at this all wrong. I was dumb as a motherfucker. It took a man that I was out there selling crack to, that I thought was low on the totem pole because he was out there doing what he was doing, when I won't know better. So Rick taught me a lot about life. And this is why I'm leaving this video today. It don't matter what you've been through. It don't matter what you're going through. Every day that you wake up, you got a chance to make it better. And your circumstances do not define who you are as a human being. My name is Ride Share Real Talk. And if somebody did not tell you that they love you today, I do. And I mean that.